Hey, welcome. So, is there anything more frustrating than that moment your key just won't turn, or the handle just spins and nothing happens? Ugh, we've all been there. But don't worry, in the next few minutes, we're going to run a super quick triage on your broken door lock so you can figure out what's really going on and what to do next.
So, if you're standing at your door right now, totally confused by a lock that was working fine yesterday, you're in the right place. Let's figure this out together and get you sorted out.
Okay, first things first, we need to play detective. Pinpointing the exact symptom is the key, yeah, pun intended, to knowing if this is something you can fix in 2 minutes or if it's a job for the experts.
Right. So if your lock just flat out refuses to engage, this is our first suspect. It could be something really simple, like a bit of grit in the wrong place, or maybe the house has settled and thrown the alignment off by just a millimeter. Or, it could just be that the lock's internal parts are just tired and worn out.
Now this one is incredibly common. Your key slides in perfectly fine, but then it just hits a wall and won't turn. This is almost always a blockage issue. Just think of it like a tiny traffic jam inside the lock cylinder. A little bit of dirt or rust is stopping all those little pins from lining up the way they're supposed to.
Oh, the dreaded limp handle. You turn it, you feel zero resistance, and absolutely nothing happens with the latch. This, unfortunately, is a pretty clear sign that a part has actually broken inside the lock. Something critical, like the spindle that connects the handle to the whole mechanism, has probably snapped.
Okay, this one is a fantastic clue. If the lock works perfectly when the door is swung open, but it jams up the second you try to lock it shut, the problem probably isn't the lock itself. It's the alignment. This happens all the time when the weather changes. UPVC doors, for example, can expand and contract in the heat just enough to throw things off.
And finally, we've got the total freeze-up. The key won't go in, it won't turn, nothing is moving at all. This usually means a serious buildup of gunk or rust has basically cemented the whole internal mechanism in place. All right, now that you have a much better idea of the culprit, let's talk about your first line of defense. Before you even think about picking up the phone, here are a few really simple tricks that might just solve the problem in minutes. Let's walk through these real quick. First, lubrication. Now this is crucial. Use a dry lubricant like a graphite or silicone spray. Please, avoid oil-based products like the standard WD-40. It seems like a good idea, but it actually attracts dust and will make the problem way worse down the road. Second, try cleaning out the keyhole with some compressed air. Third, check the obvious stuff. Is your key bent? Go grab a spare and try that. And finally, just check the hardware. Sometimes, all it takes is tightening the screws on the handle and faceplate.
Okay, so you've tried the DIY fixes. But before you do anything else, there is one golden rule. One thing you absolutely, positively must follow.
I really can't say this loud enough. Do not force it. I know it is so tempting to just give it one last hard turn out of pure frustration, but you have got to resist that urge. Because that is exactly how you snap a key clean off inside the lock, or break a delicate little spring inside. And just like that, a simple, maybe fixable problem turns into a much, much more expensive replacement.
So this brings us to the final decision. You've diagnosed the issue, you've tried the simple fixes, and you haven't forced anything. Now it's time to decide, do you keep going, or is it time to call in a pro?
So here's the simple breakdown. If the problem is just some minor stiffness or a couple of loose screws, the DIY route is a great first step, for sure. But the moment those basic tricks don't work, or if you suspect something is actually broken inside, like with that limp handle we talked about, it's time to stop. Calling a professional isn't admitting defeat. It's making the smart, strategic move to prevent even bigger damage. So that's the final question, isn't it? Is this a quick home fix, or is it a job for a locksmith? But now you're totally equipped to answer that question. You know how to identify the symptom, you know how to try the safe solutions, and you know how to make the smart call on when to bring in an expert. Thanks for watching.